All right. Well, John, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man.
This is episode 1 of our new tech series.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we're ripping through a bunch of different areas of the EventConnect software.
Okay.
And, trying to dive a little deeper for our partners and prospects of what we have to offer.
Okay.
Which the size of the system, that might be a big challenge for me. A lot of episodes, but really excited. And so thanks for joining me to kick it off.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here.
To start, before we today, you and I, we're going to review the year-over-year analysis tools and what we've been doing with our partners from a projection and business standpoint. But before we do that, it's the end of Q3 of 2025.
Somehow. Okay.
And you and I kind of get these check-ins from time to time.
Yep.
Reflecting on this year, I feel like it's been a big year on the product side. And I think we maybe always say that, but
I feel like we might say that every year, but this has definitely been a faster year for sure.
Yeah. So what parts of the software have you been diving into and enjoying moving forward?
Well, we grew the team this year, I think was the hardest thing, right? So we're up to like 20 developers now. And so mostly because of the number of clients and the client requests we have, I kind of figured out this year was, and maybe it's just random or maybe it's true, but every client kind of grew a little bit and has now been asking for more and more features to come on the platform. And we haven't always had those things going on. A lot of it has been like internal growth, but I don't know if I could name a client that hasn't asked for something this year. And so with that, obviously, it's been challenging to go to figure out how to bring all that together. But we're still shipping every day. We still release a feature every week. So it's been a lot of fun to do that.
Yeah, amazing. And the shipping every day for me on the partner side it's a fun opportunity, challenge, right. But it's been crazy. Never heard it this much before. It's like, oh, another feature. Right. Oh, how do I use that? And right. So from the account management side, we've been jumping in doing a lot of training and software awareness because of where we're going and how fast we're doing it.
Yeah, and I think most of the features this year have been able to be used by most of the clients, which hasn't always been the case.
No.
So we've been targeting, obviously, I think we've targeted every aspect of the app, but how to do faster procurement, how to do faster scheduling, how to do easier registrations, how to have more sanctioned teams easier and manage rosters easier. So I can't name an area of the app that we've had to be like, oh, let's just not put too much effort there this year. So we've really had to stretch ourselves to keep building on every aspect.
Cool. And I think it goes without saying, but when you're building these tools, one of the themes I see throughout them is efficiencies.
Right. Yes,
and
absolutely.
Time saving.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think as our partners grow and scale, even guys like Ballparks of America, right? They just keep going and going.
Yeah.
And they just keep asking us for faster and more features so they can keep that going together. So it's pretty exciting to see.
Yeah. No, it's been amazing. Yeah. So on that point, product adoption and our partners kind of moving us from point A to point B, I feel like that's where we can talk about this tool in a cool way where our partners are now asking for more reporting. And smarter reporting. So the year-over-year analysis tool for our partners that are used to logging into their dashboard and under overview seeing a blank screen, in 2025 we made it no longer blank.
You're right.
And so you can see here on the screen, you now have some pretty cool tools to do some fast year-over-year reporting.
And we're just getting started on this, right? So I mean, most of the clientele, when they look at something like this, they're trying to figure out how many room nights have they sold this week, how many teams have come in this week across all the events, right? And so our tooling was always really good on like a per event level, and how the reporting to understand where every event sits and profitability of every event and revenue by every event. But what do you do when you want to roll up that reporting across different scenarios? And so this is just a start here. We got miles to go on this still and lots of features. So if anybody does want to give us some ideas, we are happy to take them. But this is kind of where we're headed for this, right? Is how do you give the most value here, and ultimate, flexibility and customization is really what we're bringing here.
Right. Yeah, and fascinating to me, and it makes sense. But everyone's always, asking that question of not only year over year, but where am I pacing in my event lifecycle?
Correct.
And I think that's a really kind of easy concept for us because we're always working on that event lifecycle methodology.
Correct. Yeah, so where do you bring in your room nights on a weekly basis, on an annual, on a season, whichever way you kind of want to run it, you can power this up to do so.
Cool, amazing. So then jumping right in, we have 3 main widgets right now.
Yep.
How are you using this page with clients?
Yeah, so the number one on the top left, that one's dead simple. Is you pick your season that you're trying to analyze, and you can get a sense pretty quickly on how your room nights are performing over a span of time, something of that nature. Most people want to see that broken down by week, and then they're able to pace that out over, am I doing better or worse than I was last year, and how's that coming? So I really use these 2 components at the top together, because ultimately, it's one thing to have a number of 10,000 room nights or whatever you're going to sell.
Sure.
But it doesn't really mean anything without the denominator of how many travel teams do I have this year.
Right.
And really, that's really the powering up. And so whenever we look at this, we're always trying to figure out room nights per travel team, reservations per travel team, and we're calculating this all in live time. So whenever you hit these dashboards, you're actually getting a live calculation in real time where your performance sits. I don't know if other products can do this or even report on this at this layer.
Right.
And it's really one of the things that we pride ourselves on is the transparency of, you'll see one more reservation come in and you'll see that number change in 1 minute.
Right.
And so we're always trying to play with that balance of speed, efficiency, and top end reporting.
100%. Yeah, and a unique thing that you and I worked through this year with a partner was seeing this number at 10,000, and then it dropped quite a bit.
Sure.
on a certain event, and we were able to actually ask the why and find out kind of the reason, in a very quick order. Right. And so now I feel like we're having a strategic and better conversation for planning for next year on how to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Correct.
Rather than just being okay with the number.
Correct. Yeah, and it reminds me of, early days when we exposed all the booking experiences and you say, did you have a good experience and a bad experience? This to me is sort of the same thing, that you're able to pull a report and understand pretty quickly that the number is good or the number is something. And that only matters now that you can able to track that against year-over-year performance. And we love the fact that our partners can be able to track this on a daily basis, right? And they can go, oh yeah, it dropped on Tuesdays, I'm always up on Wednesdays, or I'm always up in September against October or something like that nature. And you're able to kind of use these tools to do that.
Cool, amazing.
It gives them it's a better conversation with your account manager too, so everybody's exactly on the same page.
Yep.
Asking for a report of how many room nights they sold and getting that back a week later in Excel, that's not very much fun, and it doesn't lead to a good conversation.
No, and I do think the reporting, the transparency allows our account managers to step into somewhat of that advisor role.
Yes.
And strategic role. And like I said, we were able to have a conversation with this partner of why there was canceled room nights, but then more so, how have we seen other partners come over that and grow the business rather than kind of stay in that same loop.
It leads to a better conversation of how can we help you.
Yeah, 100%.
At the end of the day, right? Which is all we're trying to do.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do in all areas of our operations team. Yeah. Cool. Well, give me kind of this the line graph when we pull this up for partners. I know always gets them excited. People are visual.
Sure.
And so we come down here. We actually now have the ability to compare 2 events.
Yep.
And across all of our favorite key metrics, and I'm sure we'll keep adding to this. But for example, let's say if we wanted to do active room nights, I turn that on and we get to see the trends here.
Correct. Yeah, so we had to build this because it's one thing to measure at the top the active performance and where you're headed, but again, you don't have a denominator. Is that a good number, 10,000? If last year's number was 100,000, now you're out of whack. So you have to be able to compare these things year over year.
Yeah.
And all the way down to event versus event. And so really this goes 2 ways, this thing. You can go seasons or you can go by event in order to understand, am I pacing ahead or pacing behind on where I'd like to be? Mm-hmm. And then we had to bring in all the other metrics to that at the same time. It's one thing it's almost like a vanity metric, your room nights. It also powers out through how many travel teams do you have, as your comparison of travel teams over all your teams, your travel mix. How's that looking? And then how many of those ultimately are activating through room blocks? So you're able to quickly just toggle these things on and off. And, and a really crazy person can turn them all on and try to read that out. But it's been a lot of fun to sort of build some of these tools. You can tell that we're just getting started here. We're trying to visualize all the things that our partners want.
Right.
and even putting a little bit of AI into this to understand, like, what should you look at? Should you look at how's your performance of Marriott hotels this year versus last year? How's your IHGs and your Hiltons and things of that nature, to make sure your trends are on track and you're able to have good conversations with your partners.
Right, amazing. Now, do you find that there's a certain time where our partners are looking at key metrics versus other ones in the event life cycle?
Almost every single one of them that I've worked with looks at the end of the season. They want to compare that. Obviously, they're going to report that up to their boss of some sort.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's done during flight. So, 30 days out to the event, 60 days out, where you're going to try to squeeze the last little bit of the event to maximize your profits and revenue.
Cool. And because of that concept, we've created it where you can really put in your the length of time you want to look at, right? So in this scenario, like, we're 180 days from the start of the event.
Yeah, and that was a real confusing thing to try to figure out how to build that, because you're not really looking at dates down here. So you kind of want to map September 1st over September 1st of last year. But ultimately, when you're comparing two different events with two different start dates, and things could be years apart or months apart, you have to be able to go into that scenario. So anybody that's ever dealt with trying to manage time in the database, it's not that much fun. But we figured it out. So you're right, you can map this down to the last 30 days. You can scope that into, normally I would run this at like 150 days to 60 days out from the event. Because once you get too close to the event, everything's static anyway. So try to give everybody flexibility. You can even go in and flip that accumulative to daily. If you ever get into daily tracking, you can do that, and that will map it by day in sort of a graph chart of that nature.
Cool. So if we did something like that,
there
you go.
There you go. So now you're able to map that year over year like that. So
amazing.
And of course, like everything else in the product, you can export it and bring it into Excel and spin it around.
Get it in the spreadsheets, because that's what everyone loves.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, I mean, I know that this was something we released early 2025, and we're testing with partners, and now we're so excited to continue to grow it with all of our partners. And logging onto that page, you're able to see it and use it. And we began so much feedback about how positive it's been in the workflows.
Yeah, we really want to ask our clients what other information they want on defaults. It will be a customizable widget page at the end of the day. You will be able to flex around and kind of build your own dashboard for this by person. And that's really where we're headed for it. But we had to get the table stakes out to start it to go that way.
Cool. Well, shifting away from this and kind of wrapping it up, as you look at Q4, what are some of the things that we're focused on from the tech side to finish 2025 strong?
Oh gosh, there's so many things at play. The big ones right now, there's a brand new scheduler coming out.
Yep.
There will be brand new tasking put into the application. So we're testing that right now ourselves. So you're able to, instead of using something like HubSpot to send tasks around to the people that work on the platform, it's all built into the platform to do that. So it should be a lot of time savings. The reason we had to do that too is the data changes so quickly that the tasks actually end up altering once you've brought them into a different platform, right?
Right.
So call this team back, simple task. But by the time you get that task to get the person to do it, they may have already booked all their rooms, and now that task is actually automatically dead. So there's a lot of things we're able to build with the internal tasking tool. Automated procurement coming out, we're able to basically canvas an area and automatically get rooms in contracts within about 20, 30 minutes. So I can show you that when that starts to come out. Our partners are getting pretty excited about that one, of course, because it saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
Big one is club team management. So we're doing a rehaul on how to manage through clubs over seasons.
Cool. For our OG partners, that's sanctions. When you hear us call sanctions, you can stop yelling at us.
Yeah, you will see us take that word out too.
Okay, so we're losing the word sanctions.
Yeah, that's coming out. So club and team management is coming in. It's going to give us capabilities to do things like have a wallet on a club, and so that the club can apply payments to different events and registrations as it sees fit, all through a sort of like a centralized hub. And then you're able to do better roster management, club management, blocking and booking management, all done up at the club level.
Sweet.
Those are probably the big ones, other than the automated AI tools that we're bringing in for reporting and scheduling.
Right. Cool. Amazing. Well, and I know the scheduling and scoring one's been a big year-long project, and we're rolling that one out, and partners are getting really excited for the changes there. It's cool to see That was like, I think, the oldest part of the product for.
It might be.
And now seeing, kind of the new look of it match kind of the rest of the product. I mean, for someone that works on the scheduling and scoring every day, it's been pretty exciting to see that glow up.
Yeah, we really probably took 25 as a season to try to listen to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And try to take in, I think, you and I personally have gone and visited a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And tried to figure out, like, what do you need us to build? What do you need us to change? How do you need us to bend the product to their needs? Because the industry's changing, and it's changing so fast that it's kind of fun to figure out what everybody needs and wants out of our product.
Yeah, and do you have a feeling of why it's changing that fast?
I think we're growing up.
Okay.
I think the industry's growing up.
Okay.
I think we're all having a lot of fun in here and building real businesses around the tournament space. I mean, I don't know, 10 years ago, I think when we started, there was a handful of big guys.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot different on the business level. And like, how many of our clients 10, 12 years ago, this was the part-time job to them. Oh. And this was their weekend job, right?
100% of our business.
Right.
and all of our account calls were after dinner.
And how many of that is true today, right? There's not many of those.
No.
It's been so fun to watch the industry change and grow up, and us included. Like, it's so fun to do.
Yeah. Well, it's really definitely changed the needs. Correct. To your point, right? Yeah. And I think that speaks to kind of what we were chatting through with these reporting tools. Definitely not required as much so when you're dealing with that other part of the business. Yeah. And still remains true today. And I think it's a cool thing that we keeps us to like that side of the sport youth space.
Yes.
Those volunteer boards, using the system in that way. Yeah. But to your point, there's so many more people running their own business through it. Yeah. And it's.
I wouldn't have bet it would have changed this fast, but it definitely has.
Yeah. Cool. Right, so cool. Well, we know we'll keep pace. Okay. Right. We'll keep the wheel going. So. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us and kicking this series off.
Thanks, Pete.
All right.